I'm Deborah Birnbaum, the president and editor-in-chief of TV Guide magazine, and I'm proud to call myself a follower. She's the follower everyone loves to hate or hates to love. She plays Emma Hill, Valorie Curry. He's an executive producer and an evil genius who's also one of the directors of some of your favorite episodes, executive producer Marco Siega. He's our hero who saved the day, caught the killer, got the girl, well, until those last 5 minutes. Kevin Bacon plays Ryan Hardy. He's the executive producer behind all those twists and turns, Kevin Williamson. He's our good-hearted FBI agent who was often beaten but never broken. He plays Mike Weston, Shawn Ashmore. So, Mr. Williamson, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, me.
All right. Who left their cell phone on?
I am so sorry. I gotta take this. I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello, Ryan. Are you forgetting someone?
Joe? I thought you were dead.
Oh. On the contrary, Ryan. I'm very much alive and kicking. My apologies for not calling sooner.
What do you want, Joe? I'm kind of in the middle of something here.
You didn't really think you could do a Comic-Con panel without me, did you?
I didn't know where to send the invite. Why don't you tell me where you are, and I'll come get you.
Oh, you'll find out soon enough.
Thank you for joining us, I think.
Hello, Comic-Con. Good to be back.
So back to my original question. Will there be a time jump, or are we going to start right where we left off?
We will jump forward a year later. We have our surviving characters, and we'll sort of see, where they are. It's a brand new story we're sort of resetting, and that's what moving forward 1 year later gives us. It gives us an opportunity to sort of, explore a whole new story with a bunch of new characters, sort of like move in and out of these characters.
You've said in interviews that second seasons are your favorite. A lot of other shows have suffered from sophomore slumps. How are you going to avoid that? What are you looking forward to about second seasons?
Yeah, I don't know. I love second seasons because you figure out the things that work, the things you did wrong, the things that you could improve upon, the things that you can do better, and also you've got your actors and they're embodied their characters, and so it just becomes a richer, more meaningful experience, a more emotional experience. I don't know. I just find that you just get your sea legs and you're just sort of ready to rock and roll by the time the second season rolls around.
The first season very much played out as a chase of Ryan trying to chase Joe Carroll. What's the storyline going to be of the second season?
Last year, Ryan was brought in as a consultant in a task force right smack in the middle of the FBI, and this year, we're taking it away from the FBI, and he won't be so focused in the FBI. Certainly we have Agent Weston, But the A story every week will not be so FBI local centric. It'll sort of be more of a character-driven thriller as opposed to sort of the FBI chase.
Kevin Bacon, this was your first TV series. Was it everything you thought it was going to be? What were your expectations, and how did it deliver?
Yeah, everything and more. I love the opportunity to go to work every day with these fantastically talented people that are sitting up here. I really like the pace, and I really find it exhilarating to spend, 16 hours walking in Ryan's shoes, 16 hours a day, and page after page, pounding away. It's been really fun, and of course, the reaction from people who reach out, on the street or wherever is really makes me feel great. I've said before that there's a different thing about being an actor on television, because you come into people's homes and you stay there, and you come week after week after week, and I think there's a real connection that they feel for you that is deeper, it seems, than even to actors in movies.
You've often said that no one on this show has job security, including you. Is it true you suggested killing off Ryan Hardy?
Well, I think that I was having a couple bad days. I think that, I think one of the cool things about being on a show like this and about television these days, you see oftentimes that anything can happen. And it becomes extremely important to us and to an audience, not to spoil things, not to tip things when it's too early to tip them, and to hold on to the secrets. I know that I like that in the shows that I watch, and that's certainly a big part of our show. So I could die.
For all of the actors, what plot twist surprised you the most? Shawn, do you want to start?
I'll go back to the pilot and the reveal with Emma and the neighbors. I mean, that's where the show really hooked me from the get-go. When I read the pilot, I knew it was going to be something different. I knew it was going to be something that was going to break the mold. And so to me, that was what established the sort of twists and turns in the show. And also, from that moment forward, there was, I think, half the audience that thought maybe Weston was a bad guy, or you weren't sure who was good and bad. And I think that those are the seeds that Kevin Williamson planted in the pilot, the fact that you just can't trust anybody. And I think that's, the whole first season was sort of based on those twists and turns. So I think the pilot got me.
Valerie, what about you?
I think, at least thinking in terms of, with my character, the biggest surprise to me was the infamous shower scene. And what surprised me, I think, as an actor is because after several episodes of Emma trying to manipulate Paul in order to control him, what I found when we actually filmed the scene was what a vulnerable, emotional scene that turned out to be. And that was a twist, and that changed the whole relationship and changed all the characters. And I think after that, with Emma, it really broke through that wall she puts up and that veneer. And you started to see the cracks and the vulnerable girl underneath that I didn't know yet either. And Kevin just started to sort of give her to me in the scripts.
James, what about you?
I think that, every single week, whenever I opened a script and read a script, I was always kind of gobsmacked and amazed by the things that Kevin had done and written and the twists and turns therein. But I think for me, probably the killing off of Agent Parker. I was sort of staggered that Kevin decided to do that. It was a terrible thing to do. Because I kind of loved Danny Paris, and I thought she was in it for the long haul. So to see her actually cop it was, that was extraordinary. So that was for me the biggest plot twist, yeah.
So I would imagine Mike Weston's going to be particularly impacted by Deborah's death. Do you want to talk about that, Shawn?
The thing that I really loved about Weston's arc this season is, from the pilot, he was sort of this shiny penny, kind of excited to be a part of it. And as the season progressed, sort of got a little more worn down. And what I thought by the end of the season, which is interesting, and I think what will continue into the second season, is I thought that there's kind of a mirror between Weston and Hardy in that sense. Hardy got really worn down during the first Joe Carroll chase, and I think that sort of is affecting Weston the same way. So certainly I think Parker's death will really affect him. And also the response to, let's be honest, Hardy and Weston kidnapped and basically killed a detainee. In handcuffs. So there certainly will be repercussions to that moving forward.
Will there be repercussions for that for Ryan also?
Well, yeah, but I think that that's one of the things is we're going to jump ahead in time, as Kevin mentioned, and we have the opportunity to then look at what happened to these characters during that year. In Kevin's, vision for the show, everyone that we meet next year is at a really, really different place in their lives, and Ryan seems lighter and in a way more at peace than you've ever seen him in the show. And he has finally been able to find something in his life that steps him away from all of the killing and the violence. And that's going to be a fun thing for me to play.
And where does a year later find our little Emma Hill?
Well, Emma really lost everything at the end of season 1. The cult is seemingly disbanded, and Joe Carroll is seemingly dead. Of course, she lives in hope, as always, that he'll turn up. And jumping ahead, she will have to learn how to live without that protection and that infrastructure of the cult and the motivation of Joe Carroll. And she will have grown and changed a lot. Maybe she will have met some new friends.
That doesn't sound good.
Nothing Emma says ever sounds good. And I know I'm excited to see what becomes of her when she is left to her own devices.
Is she the new Joe Carroll?
Well, nobody could ever replace Joe Carroll, you know.
That's my girl.
Whether he has some competition from Emma has yet to be seen.
You guys were definitely also put through your paces filming some pretty hard scenes. I mean, Shawn, for example, you were beaten up a lot.
I was, yeah. I mean,
I noticed.
every other episode I'd get a script and I'd be like, oh, knife wound, gunshot, severe beating. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin.
What did you do to deserve that?
You have to ask.
I immediately knew the writers in the writers' room. We just immediately fell in love with Weston and Ryan. You know, we thought they had a really great relationship, and I sort of feel like the whole first season was simply just sort of the prologue. You know, and now we can really, you know, explore these relationships in a more meaningful way. And I'm very excited to see how Mike and Ryan sort of progress now that a year has passed. Now that they've had that shared horrific first season and what it's done to both of them, and you know, and where they're at, and are they going to be work together? Are they going to be friends? Are they going to be even around each other? Or are they going to be hostile? I mean, it's an interesting relationship because you do sort of have the father-son, mentor-student. You know, there's a lot going on there in that relationship. It's very rich territory to mine.
Will Ryan's death curse continue to play out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, as I said, when we see him, he's at a happier, lighter place in his life. But you know, he's a guy that is never too far away from some very dark stuff that lives in his soul, and he lives with a lot of guilt and a lot of pain, and we'll have to see where that starts to rear its head again. I think it will certainly come out in some ways sooner or later, you know.
And Mr. Purefoy, what has Joe Carroll been up to for the past year?
Growing a beard.
Growing a beard, obviously. I suspect he's been doing a little bit of soul searching and seeing where the plan...
Does he have a soul?
But that's what I mean. He's actually searching for his soul. So I suspect he's trying to see where the plan went awry, and will come back with double the strength, I hope, and double the force. But I think he's going to have a little bit of time on his own, out of the city. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a little reinvention, this guy. I mean, things didn't go so well for Joe. He made he was a little selfish last year. You know, he's got this whole following that's going to do everything for him, and then he just wants to get his family back together and write a book. So, you know, he may just have to figure out a new way and just sort of, you know, reimagine who he is as a man and a killer and all those fun things.
He needs to open up and just make more friends.
Yeah. You know, I mean, let's face it, that Edgar Allan Poe stuff didn't work so well, so he's going to have to figure out a new way.
So just how widespread is that cult going to get?
Well, you know, the internet is a global thing after all, isn't it? You know, it doesn't just... we tended to, our locale was kind of the eastern seaboard and Virginia, and, you know, there are followers everywhere.
In this room?
Possibly. In this room, I don't know. Are there?
Will we get to know more about Joe's backstory? Are we going to see more flashbacks?
I suspect.
Yes, we are. That's one of the fun things. There's so much about these two men and all the other characters that we haven't really explored. And I think one of the things we are going to learn about Joe Carroll is we are going to flash back and we're going to see, how did this man become this way? What happened in his past? And where were the seeds of evil planted, and the whole, nature versus nurture argument will be explored, and we'll flash back and maybe see some of his family life when he was a small child. We'll see him when he was, a young adult. We'll see him, we'll sort of explore all those areas.
For all the actors, what was your favorite scene or your favorite episode?
Mine was the Fight Club stuff I got to do. That was so fun. That was my first interaction with Warren Cole as Roderick, which was amazing. I thought he was great. And it was just, for me, it was what broke Weston. It was sort of what started him down this sort of slightly darker road that I really love to play. So that was my favorite stuff.
My two scenes, I had one where Joe comes home to the cult for the very first time, and he's reunited with his son, Joey. Mm-hmm. I thought that was sort of a powerful scene. And then when Joe Carroll killed Charlie. And I sort of felt that's when I thought the show was working on all cylinders. I thought, the directing, the score, our composer created the score, the editing, the acting. I thought it all came together. The lighting, the mood, everything came together for me in that scene. And I thought I was just very proud to be a part of the show at that point.
I seem to remember, I don't know what episode it was, but I'd been doing a lot of chasing and running, as I like to say, I'm always coming around corners. And all of a sudden got tied up at the farmhouse, and we had 3 or 4 scenes to play where I couldn't leave the chair. And there was something all of a sudden really kind of fun about that and freeing, because he sort of, it was a new side that Kevin found to that character, which was a little more of a wise ass and more of a sort of intellectual game playing with the bad guy. So that was a fun moment for me.
For me, it was Ryan and Mike unable to save Annie. Just that whole sequence, and when they get there, and even when we were shooting it, these guys, I didn't have to direct a whole lot because they actually got emotional. I got emotional behind the camera as it was happening, and Annie was pretty amazing in all of that. So I have that as the moment for me.
I think it was 2 scenes. The first was actually the first scene that I shot when we started shooting the season in episode 2 in New York, which was the flashback to the bookstore where Emma meets Joe Carroll, and which laid the groundwork for everything that character is about and what she reflects on. And then the other side of that is the other scene where she's reunited with him finally at the mansion, and no words are spoken, but just the gratification. It's the most gratifying scene that character got to experience, I think, in the entire series or entire season. And it was very emotional.
I think I enjoyed every single scene that I shot because I was working with just really wonderful actors and directors, and every single one of them stepped up to the plate, and they were all marvelous. I suppose because the mental chess game between Joe Carroll and Ryan Hardy was so complicated and so complex and so strange often. And there was one particular day when we shot a scene where I'm behind glass, and it was in a bunker, and we stuck 4 or 5 scenes together, so it became a 16-minute take. Mm-hmm. And that was a really exciting day to do, because we did, half a dozen different takes of a 16-minute take, and you can really get your teeth into something when you're turning over for that long, and you can really feel that you're just beginning to inhabit the,
it felt like theater.
Part. It did. It just felt like theater, and of course, I loved that.
So one last question. Any new actors you've been cast for the new season you can tell us about?
Nobody's been cast yet?
No one's been cast yet, but yes, we're definitely going to have some, new characters. We're going to have some new leads, some that are going to sort of interface with these characters, good characters, bad characters. We have there'll be a brand new cast that will move along with these guys forward.
Good.
Well, yeah.
And hopefully they'll survive.
Why would you think that? Why would you?
And just come up with more creative ways to kill them off.
Well, yes and no. I mean, that's the fun of the show. It's meant to sort of be, a page turner. So that's hopefully that it'll keep in that spirit. So we just want to tell a crazy story. It's a crazy thrill ride every week, and hopefully it'll just continue. But it'll just we'll just enrich it and make it better.
I think the fans who watch it. Yeah, we're really appreciative of you guys because we didn't know how it was going to be taken, and you guys made it. You guys watched it, and we're. You know how hard it is to do TV? It's hard. It's really hard to do a TV show, and then people to respond to it, and so I'm so grateful that we have an audience, and we've been allowed the opportunity to have a season 2. I'm very grateful.
I just want to thank the cast and executive producers of the show, the following, and thanks to all of you guys.
Thank you guys.